All right, so you're ready to ditch that 9 to 5 and chase that dream project you've always wanted to do. That's incredible. It takes a lot of courage to make a leap like that. But we know you're not just looking to scrape by, right? You want to thrive while doing what you love. And luckily for you, we found this podcast episode called The Unmatched Blueprint for Building Financial Security Before Leaving a Steady Job. So let's dive into that and figure out how to build a rock-solid financial foundation before you take that leap.
I think a lot of times people just focus on the excitement of starting something new, which is great.
Yeah.
But, having a solid plan in place beforehand can really make a world of difference. It's like having a map and compass when you're exploring like uncharted territory.
Okay, I'm all about having a map, so where do we even begin with this?
Well, the first stage of our blueprint is all about facing reality. We need to take a clear and honest look at where you stand financially right now.
Yeah.
It might feel a little daunting, but it's absolutely essential.
Yeah, I can see that. I think I'm definitely guilty of maybe avoiding looking too closely at my finances sometimes. But if this is about building a foundation, I guess there's no way around it. So what's the first step then?
Well, we start by figuring out your net worth. Basically, it's a snapshot of your financial health. Imagine your assets. Everything you own are like points you've earned in a game. And your liabilities,
Yeah.
everything you owe are like points deducted. Your net worth is basically like your final score.
Okay, that makes sense. So we're adding up everything from like bank accounts to investments, maybe even that vintage record collection I have that I'm convinced will be worth a fortune one day.
Exactly. And then on the other side, we're looking at any debts you might have,
Yeah.
like student loans, credit card balances, or even that car payment. Getting this clear picture will help us figure out what we need to build on.
Okay, so we have our score.
Well,
What do we do with it?
next, we want to track your cash flow, basically where your money is going each month. It can be really eye-opening. I once helped someone track their spending, and they were shocked to discover they were spending over like $80 a month on just buying coffee.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think I need to track my spending a little more closely. It's easy to lose track of those little expenses that can really add up.
It happens to the best of us. But once you've got a handle on your spending patterns, we can move on to one of the most crucial steps,
Yeah.
building your emergency fund.
Right, the rainy day fund. It's always felt a little like admitting defeat, like saving for something bad to happen.
I think it's actually the opposite. Think of it as a safety net, a way to embrace risk without being reckless. When you're venturing into the unknown, like starting your own business, having, 3 to 6 months of living expenses tucked away can make all the difference.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not about like expecting the worst, it's about being prepared so you can confidently pursue your dreams. It's like that saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Exactly. An emergency fund can actually reduce anxiety and boost your creativity because you have a cushion to fall back on. It's a powerful tool for peace of mind.
It sounds like having that safety net can actually make you bolder and more willing to try new things.
Absolutely. Knowing you can weather unexpected storms frees you up to focus on the exciting stuff, like building the next stage of your blueprint. And that's where things start to get really interesting.
Okay, so we faced those financial facts and started building our safety net. What's the next stage in our blueprint for leaving our job?
So now we shift gears a little bit from the practical to the inspiring, setting goals that go beyond just dollars and cents.
Ooh, this sounds more my speed. So we're talking about more than just like hitting a certain number in our savings account.
Right. Think of it this way. Money is just a tool. It's what you can do with it that truly matters. This stage is all about figuring out how this financial freedom is going to support the life that you want to build.
Okay, I like that. But how do we turn that vague idea of like living the dream into concrete goals?
Well, it's all about connecting with your why. Why are you leaving your job? What do you hope to achieve? If money were no object, what would your ideal day look like?
That's a great question. I've always fantasized about having the flexibility to travel, maybe take a pottery class or just spend more time with family without feeling tethered to a schedule.
There you go. Those are great starting points. Now think about how those desires translate into financial goals. Maybe it's having enough savings to cover a few months of travel, or the ability to take a pay cut without stressing about bills.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's about aligning our finances with the experiences and lifestyle we're after. It definitely feels a lot more motivating than just like saving for saving's sake.
Exactly. And remember, this is your unique vision. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's about designing a life that brings you joy and fulfillment.
Okay, I'm getting fired up about this, but let's be real. Even with a clear vision, ditching a steady paycheck can be scary. Is there anything we can do to ease that financial anxiety?
Absolutely. That's where stage 3 of our blueprint comes in, diversifying your income streams. Think of it like building multiple bridges to support you during this transition.
Oh, that's a great analogy. So I've heard a lot about side hustles, but honestly, it just sounds like more work.
I hear you, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a grind. The key is to choose something you actually enjoy, maybe even something that's related to your dream project.
Yeah.
It could be freelancing, selling handmade crafts online, or even teaching a skill that you're passionate about.
So it's not about becoming a workaholic. It's more about creating a safety net while exploring new possibilities.
Precisely. And here's a pro tip from the podcast episode. Start that side hustle before you leave your job. It gives you a chance to test the waters, build some momentum, and maybe even start generating some income.
That's smart. Yeah, it takes some of the pressure off and allows for a smoother transition.
And who knows, that side hustle could even blossom into your main gig down the line. It happens more often than you think.
Okay, I'm definitely feeling more confident about this. So we've got our financial foundation, our inspiring goals, and now some backup bridges in place. What's next on the blueprint?
Now it's time to put your money to work for you. Let's talk about investing.
Investing. I always thought that was something for people with, serious money and fancy advisors.
Not at all. Investing is for anyone who wants to grow their money over time, no matter how much you have to start with. Think of it like planting seeds. The earlier you plant, the more time those seeds have to grow and flourish.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but the world of investing feels a little intimidating. Where do we even begin?
While you're still employed, make sure you're maxing out those 401k contributions.
Try to grab that free money while I can.
Exactly. Now, for other investments, there are plenty of accessible options. One simple approach is a high-yield savings account. It's like a regular savings account, but it pays a higher interest rate, so your money grows a bit faster.
Oh, so it's low risk, but still helps my money work harder for me.
Yeah, exactly. Then there are short-term bonds, which are also relatively low risk and offer a fixed return over a set period.
Got it. So less risk, more stability. Sounds good for someone about to make a big life change.
Right. Now, if you're feeling a bit more adventurous and have a longer time horizon, you could consider index funds.
Index funds, what are those?
Imagine buying a tiny piece of all the companies in the stock market. That's basically what an index fund does. It spreads your investment across a wide range of companies, which reduces your risk while still giving you exposure to the growth potential of the market.
Interesting. So less risky than picking individual stocks, but still the potential for growth.
Exactly. And there are even target date funds, which automatically adjust your investments as you get closer to retirement.
Okay, so lots of options to explore. This is a lot to take in, but I'm starting to see how investing can be a powerful tool for building long-term financial security.
It is. And the best part is you don't have to be a financial expert to get started. There are tons of resources available to help you learn and make informed decisions.
All right, so we've got our safety net, our goals, our side hustles, and now we're planting those investment seeds. Is there anything else we need to consider before making our big move?
There are a few often overlooked details that can trip people up. For instance, have you thought about what you'll do about health
Oh,
insurance?
yeah, health insurance. That's a good point. It's easy to forget about that when you're caught up in the excitement of going solo.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we often take for granted until it's gone, you know? And losing that employer-provided coverage can be a real wake-up call, both financially and emotionally.
Definitely. No one wants to think about getting sick, but it's part of life, and medical bills can be a huge setback, especially when you're just starting out. So what's the best way to kind of approach this?
Well, I think research is key.
Hmm.
Start by exploring individual health plans. Healthcare.gov is a great resource for comparing options and finding something that fits your budget and your needs. And don't be afraid to ask for help navigating the system. There are often resources available to kind of guide you through the process.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, it sounds like it could be a bit of a headache, but definitely worth tackling early on.
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of protecting yourself, the podcast episode also mentioned life and disability insurance.
To be honest, those have always felt a bit morbid to think about.
I understand. But think of it this way. It's about taking care of yourself and your loved ones. Life insurance can provide financial security for your family, if something were to happen to you. And disability insurance can help replace a portion of your income if you're unable to work due to an illness or injury.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's like having a plan in place to navigate those unexpected twists and turns that life throws our way. It's all starting to feel a bit less daunting now that we're like breaking it down step by step.
That's the power of a good blueprint. But there's one more crucial piece that we need to add to our foundation. And this is where a lot of people, I think, get tripped up. It's time to talk about budgeting.
Ugh, budgeting. It always sounds so restrictive, like I'm giving up all the fun in life.
I know it gets a bad rap, but it doesn't have to be that way. Think of it less as deprivation and more as conscious spending. Making sure your money is aligned with your goals and values. Remember that Marie Kondo for your finances analogy from the podcast episode.
Right. Only keep what sparks joy. So I guess it's about figuring out what truly matters to me and cutting out the rest.
Exactly. It's not about denying yourself everything. It's about being intentional with your spending.
Hmm?
Do you really need that daily latte, or would you be just as happy with a less expensive coffee, a few times a week? Could you swap that expensive gym membership for online workout videos or outdoor activities?
Yeah, it's about finding creative ways to save without sacrificing the things that make life enjoyable.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes making those adjustments can lead to unexpected benefits. You might discover new hobbies, find joy in simpler pleasures, or even strengthen your relationships by spending more quality time with loved ones instead of focusing on material things.
Oh, I love that. So budgeting is not just about saving money, it's about creating a more mindful and fulfilling life.
Exactly. It's about designing a lifestyle that supports your dreams both financially and emotionally.
Okay, I'm officially convinced. Budgeting check. So we've got all the pieces of our financial foundation in place. What's the final step in our blueprint?
It's time to set a timeline. When do you envision yourself leaving your job and diving headfirst into your dream project?
Ooh, that's the big question. I'm definitely feeling a lot more confident now that I have a plan. But part of me still wants to cling to the security of a steady paycheck.
That's completely understandable. But remember, this timeline is just a guide, not a rigid deadline. It's about creating a roadmap with milestones to keep you motivated and on track. Maybe you aim to launch your side hustle within the next 6 months, hit a certain savings target by the end of the year, or secure those insurance policies before making the leap.
Right, it's like breaking down a seemingly impossible goal into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly. And the best part is you get to celebrate those wins along the way. Maybe you hit a financial milestone sooner than expected, or your side hustle takes off faster than you anticipated. Embrace those successes and let them fuel your momentum.
It sounds like flexibility is key here. Life rarely goes exactly according to plan, so being able to adapt is essential.
You got it. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are communities of like-minded entrepreneurs, online resources, and even financial advisors who can offer support and guidance along the way.
This has been such an insightful journey. We went from feeling kind of overwhelmed to having a clear roadmap for building financial security before leaving a steady job. And it's not about denying ourselves or living in fear. It's about being intentional with our resources and aligning them with our dreams.
Beautifully said. And remember, you're capable of achieving this. With careful planning, a clear vision, and a little bit of courage, that leap of faith becomes less of a free fall and more of an exhilarating flight towards a life on your own terms.
I love that analogy. An exhilarating flight towards a life on my own terms. That's exactly what I'm after. Thanks for helping me build my wings.
Anytime. Now go out there and soar.